At Tulip, our mission is simple: to unlock human potential and digitally transform your frontline operations. We believe that when you empower your workforce with the right technology, the possibilities are endless. We understand that no two operations are the same, and that's why our platform is designed to be flexible and adaptive, catering specifically to your unique needs. From enhancing quality inspections to streamlining workflows, Tulip provides the solutions you need to excel and scale as you grow. Our team is dedicated to your success. We've built Tulip not only to solve today's challenges, but to anticipate tomorrow's, with features that improve efficiency, ensure quality, and provide complete traceability. We're here to support your digital transformation journey. Explore our platform at tulip.co to discover all of the ways Tulip can transform your operations.
Please welcome to the stage, Tulip.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is a really exciting event for everybody. We're the follow-up act to Jeff and Walker, so it's going to be a bit tough after lunch. But we're really excited today to showcase what we built as part of the ProveIt conference here. But before we start, I'm going to just give you a brief perspective on history, our perspective on the technology, and maybe first ask, who has not heard of Tulip? I'm going to go the other way. Is anybody? Tulip is new? This is new? Okay, cool. Well, then we have our work cut up for us, because I'm not going to go into much detail about what is Tulip, but just kind of give our perspective on technology, digital technology, and specifically AI, and then Brennan actually is going to show, and I think you'll be pretty excited to see what we have built so far. Many of the things I'm going to say is some of the same theme that we heard in the morning with the both from Jeff and from Walker. This is kind of our introduction slide to say there is, no two factories are the same, and at the same time the world is ever changing, and we're starting to see, disruption in our supply chains, disruption in the world around us, and of course this speed by which technology is coming at us and what we do with that. And that is the premise of what we're trying to do in Tulip. We want to give you a platform that allows you to live within the reality of the world, and really the opposite of what we call monolithic system, and I'll explain in a bit more detail what that means. But really to give you the opportunity and the capabilities to use technology to the extent that can give you the productivity that you need. And productivity is really an important piece of our message. The whole reason why digital technology is interesting in the manufacturing space is simply put because it offers an order of magnitude productivity improvement, the potential of an order of magnitude productivity increase. And I typically say it very simply, look, if you're looking at technology and evaluating technology that is not giving you that significant boost in or at least the potential to do that, you're not looking at new digital technology. And this is what this slide tries to represent. We look at the old world as kind of the monolithic world, and we come with something called composability and a composable approach that has a lot to do also with agentic AI, and we'll explain that. But the core of it really, and I'll explain what composability is in just a bit, is that in the old world, we were trying to look at, generalize what the world and build the data models that reflect the reality of the world. And we all know that that did not work that well. There were certain things that worked well for, but then it kind of closed us in and had us play in a scope or an area, but we had to do workarounds. You have to go workarounds, and many know about all the paper and the Excel and everything that goes in addition to your systems because the systems are too rigid. A composability approach takes a very different, tries basically puts that on the head. Basically we say, we're going to let you solve the real problems, we call them use cases, and this is kind of what it looks like. We introduce something called composability, and it comes together with our platform. One thing that is unique about Tulip is that we offer a technology platform that is incredible, and we will hope to show it to you. But in addition to that, we're giving you a method and a concept and tools to apply that technology in the realities of this new digital world. Basically, we're giving you the tools and the knowledge, and we train you in that to digitally transform, in fact, to continuously transform. And this is what composability is all about. And as I go through these pillars, you'll actually see it reflect a lot of what Walker and Jeff talked about this morning, starting with bottoms up. Bottoms up means that the way that you implement technology is from the bottoms up, meaning that we go one use case at a time, we solve one problem at a time, and go from there. That is a very unique approach, and it gives you, and I'll explain, gives you time to value very fast. Next is agility. Agility we marry with lean. Digital tools, you know, let me just go backtrack for a second. Who does not know what lean is? Or operational excellence? Of course, everybody knows. Why? Because that's the core. It's the fabric of how we operate. It's not, there is no plant in the world that you can walk at the plant manager and ask him, do you know what lean is? And he says no. That just does not exist. It's the way we do operations. Therefore, digital technology needs to help you or align or enable you to do continuous improvement. That's one. Next is democratization, and I think Walker talked about it at length. Democratization is letting people who have the problems solve the problems. So that is making technology available to the masses, making it easy to use, making it easy to use specifically to process and quality engineers. Then human centricity, and again, I'm talking about the same topic that we talked about this morning. It has to serve humans, it needs to augment humans, it needs to make humans more productive. That's at the core. And lastly, compliance. Anybody here in the regulated space, life sciences, aerospace and defense? Compliance with regulation has to be seamless, part of the platform. That's kind of the last thing. And when you do all of that, and you provide a technology platform that gives you that, then things like AI and AI, in general AI and specifically agentic AI, kind of pop out of it. It's just a natural extension of it all. Now I'll go back to the two main pillars here, bottoms up. What you see here at the bottom, what you have to look at here in the bottom is at the scale. If we do it the traditional way, it takes much longer. So the way you do traditional systems is you get into a room for months and you do a gap analysis between what the system gives you and the reality of your manufacturing. That's not composable. Composability is about solving problems right now and giving you the tools. And what you see is that you can generate value much faster. And why is that important? Again, it's an evaluator whether you have digital technology or not. If you cannot show value within, we say hours, days, we can say weeks as well, it is not new digital technology. Next is the cycle of continuous improvement. Again, this needs to align, this needs to be embedded within your continuous improvement methodologies, concepts, mindsets in your factories. It needs to be another tool for continuous improvement. And that's a core part of it. Now when we apply Agentic, and I'm going to move over to the Agentic part of it, when we apply AI, and specifically Agentic AI, as Jeff described this morning, you know, these are agents that agents have to be autonomous, they have to be collaborative, and they need to also work with each other. And I think one of the things that I haven't heard today, if I would say, you know, this is my claim to fame for the new part of it, the real power of Agentic AI comes actually from multi-agent systems, from the ability of these agents to work together. I think Jeff talked about it at the end of the talk when we talked about these knowledge graphs and getting everything together. But that's part of it, and we're going to showcase some of that as well. And then just lastly, before we get into the demo, with the composable concept, the tools and methodologies that we give you, we also give you an AI framework, a framework in which you can apply specifically Agentic AI in the tool set of the composable tool set. So we actually classify and say there are three types of agents. They're builder agents, agents that help you engineer, to do your work as an engineer, to create content, to solve problems with your optimization. And then on the other side, we have operations agents that work hand in hand in your operations. And this is not something, this is actually a very deep topic, we have a lot of information about it, but really starts talking about creating this autonomous factory where agents and multi-agent systems work together in the digital twin perspective. But in the middle, we have something called staff and companion agents. And those are actually the agents that most of us use. These are agents that help us do tasks. We send them to do a report or go analyze some data, tell me when my schedule is not working. And they're very, very useful, but they are kind of the glue that puts together the builder agents and the operation agents, which are at the core. So with that, I'm going to give it over to Brendan, but just a quick plug into who Tulip is, kind of in a bigger list. We are around now 11 years old. We're headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts, Somerville. We have offices in Europe and Asia Pac. We have, it's actually more than that, more than 900 customers right now, and we operate in multiple verticals. Life sciences is a very big vertical for us. Aerospace defense is a very big vertical for us, so we do a lot of the regulated stuff. And we also have quite a broad number of customers, or a broad customer set in general manufacturing. We call it general manufacturing, but think about everything else that's not in that regulated space. There's a lot more to tell about Tulip. I invite you to our booth where you can actually see some of these things firsthand. Please, we also have workshops today or tomorrow and the next days, right? Come to our workshops, you get to play hands-on with Tulip and our Agentic framework, which is what Brendan is going to show us. So I went over time, but Brendan, over to you.
Hello, I'm Brennan. So we decided to focus on Enterprise B. Enterprise B is a bottling line. So it's multi-site. It has 3 different sites. And it's producing orange soda, cola, and bottling that into different bottles. With this UNS, we were given a lot of process data from the machines and sensors on the line. But how can we actually make use of it and turn it into a full digital twin of this system, with agents operating autonomously in the background, live data visualizations plugged into your system, and a full visualizer of the UNS. We decided to do this by first integrating all of this data into 2 of our partners, Aviva Connect and Litmus. We also connected this directly to Tulip, so we can have access to that data ourselves. And then we built a quick AI agent in Tulip without writing a single line of code. We just connected these as tools in Tulip to this AI agent, which we could then chat with. So we asked it a simple question: how can we improve this process? Do you see any room for optimizations? So it found some issues. So the mixing vats actually only had 67% availability and spent about 40% of their time in idle, blocked, or cleaning states. That's quite high. So it actually gave us recommendations as well, telling us to optimize the cleaning schedule and improve the changeover processes here, because there's a lot of wasted time in that process. So AI was able to identify the problem, but it's missing a pretty critical theme here. It's missing the operational context. It doesn't have that human element. So the next step is to go to the line and talk to the operators operating these machines.
First thing, I'm checking that everything drained to the holding tanks and the level gauge is at 0. Now I'm opening the bottom valve to drain any leftover syrup into the recovery tank. Once that's clear, I'm starting the pre-rinse. Here comes the caustic wash to break down all that sticky buildup. Now we need to flush with hot water until the pH hits neutral. Let me do a quick visual check inside. I'm making sure nothing's damaged. Everything looks good, so we're clear to load the next product. I'm pulling up the lemon lime recipe now. I'll flush each ingredient line real quick before we start filling to avoid any cross-contamination.
So we stepped in to the actual process, understood it with the operator, side by side with them. But now how can we take that operator knowledge that isn't documented anywhere and turn it into a working application? That's where Tulip's AI Composer tool comes in. So we can just drop in a video. We just film that entire video with the operator, drop it into this tool, and it'll process that work instruction using our AI. It'll automatically create an application for us that we can then build on in the future, integrating it with the rest of our process and collecting data. We can even add templates to this application so it matches the rest of our enterprise apps. So we have consistency across our entire suite. Now you can see we have a full application built here. It takes screenshots from these videos automatically and extracts any instructions that the operator would need to follow. So there's no need for a intermediary SOP or anything anymore. You can jump straight from tribal knowledge directly to a working application that you can build on in the future. So AI helped us see the problem. It helped us shape the solution. But now how do we take this to the front line? How do we improve this to actually optimize the process further? This is where our AI agents come in. We touched on this a bit with the agent chat before, but these agents are, again, built using no code. You can see here an Andon troubleshooting agent as an example. So these agents, they're given just goals, instructions, and tools. That's it. Not a single line of code written, and you can plug them into applications. They can work autonomously in the background, optimizing your process or augmenting the operator. So let me show you the application that we ended up building here. So here is our full process, right? And here is our Tulip application that we built. This is the same app that you saw generated with AI. I just added an additional step to act as a dashboard to give the operator a full process visualization. They can see the current status of any of their mixing vats. And at the bottom there, you can see upcoming transfers. This is actually being populated by an AI autonomously in the background. So it's trying to optimize between mixing vats and the tanks to ensure that anytime a tank is full, we can actually automatically know which vat to send the material to or which tank to send that material to from the mixing vat. So it'll automatically notify us. It'll have an urgency as well. These ones are all high. But we can see the operator gets that information automatically in the application. They can take action on it. So for example, I can select one of these and begin that transfer process, and it'll bring us right through that full changeover application that we built fully using AI. It took us about 5 minutes to build. Let's say I run into an issue while I'm operating this application too. I can just press this Get Help button, and it'll create an Andon alert. Let me select a reason, like a safety issue, and fill in some comments. So here during the recent changeover process, the workstation was excessively slippery due to some spilled soda. This will actually trigger this Andon troubleshooting agent to operate in the background. You can see our Andon alert populated directly to the UNS and follows the Sesame SM profile guidelines. You can see our schema right here where we publish that as well. But you can see over here on the top right, the troubleshooting agent is actually populating its thoughts and status as it thinks and to solve this problem for us. These are also being reported over to the UNS. Now let me show you how we make these agents. So in Tulip, here's a few of different agents that we can choose from. This is available now. It's in beta, so it's upon request, but it is available. So this is the Andon troubleshooting agent that we just used. You can see how easy it is to build it. You select your model, you tell it how long you want it to think, how many steps, and you just define a goal and some instructions, all natural text. And then down below, we can define some tools. So it can have access to all of your applications, your table data, any external connections as well. So if you want to connect Litmus, Aviva, whatever other service, Snowflake, it doesn't matter. These are all built using Tulip's native no-code connectors that people build all the time and already have integrated into their applications. So you then just select them from this list. You trigger it on. You can even have them be approved only. So if you chat with it, you need approval before it actually performs that action. So it has access to all of these. It can even generate analytics if you want. And then you can chat with it. You can integrate it into your apps. You can tell it to work autonomously in the background. Really whatever you need for your process. You can see here we have many different agents, some of which are builder agents, some of which are optimization agents. So we have a data model architect to help us build our data model and encourage it to match to enterprise standards, or an ISA 88 expert that'll help us conform to the ISA 88 standard. Or we have optimization agents like this liquid processing optimizer. This is the one filling in that first page of the application, helping us optimize the transfer of the liquids between the vats and the tanks. We also have a production analyst agent. This is the one that we used in the very beginning for the chat. So we can just ask it normal questions at any point to better understand our process and how we can improve it. And we also have agents for like quality reporting or validation plans for any regulated industries to help us conform to the regulated standards. Now, if you don't want to actually build all of that just by typing in those prompts, we also have Agent Builder Assistant. So this is an agent that we've built to help you build agents. So you just tell it what kind of agent you want to build, and it will walk you through exactly how you need to. It'll give you the goal, it'll give you the instructions, make it really easy. Now to go back here, we've now tackled the site, but what about the entire enterprise? So we have Ops Moto now. This is Tulip's enterprise visibility tool. It gives you a full visualization of all of your different sites across your entire enterprise. So you can see here on the far right side, this is actually a visualization of how many apps we've used in this instance and by hour. So you can see which apps are most successful and which are not used often. So on the bottom here, ProveIt Dallas, that's the first site, our lighthouse site. We've deployed this changeover application that we just built. We've integrated agents into it. It's pretty successful. You can see it's dark blue, so we're using it quite often. But the Atlanta and Boston sites, sites 2 and 3, don't really have that application deployed yet. They could probably get some value out of that. So this is where our Enterprise App Exchange comes in. So we can publish this application and send it to our Enterprise App Exchange. This is essentially like a library of applications that are within your enterprise. So any of your other sites can automatically download the app and build it for themselves. They can customize it to their process. So you can see this application, we easily brought it over. Takes about 2 seconds for you to download it to your new site. So it preserves the same site level application that you can then improve on it over time, adjust it to each different site's needs.
So, talking about, excuse me, talking about how much time it took, I just want to preface that. You notice that one of the things that's unique to Tulip is that it's not, we don't give you a number of agents out of the box. Everything is buildable. You build everything yourself. And again, in a no-code environment. And what the Agentic capability now brings us is actually supercharging and accelerating that whole notion of democratization, letting people solve their own problems by themselves, making technology more available to people who understand the problems versus understanding the technology. So as you can see, it took 3 to 5 days. It did not take a lot of time to build these things. We built 3 applications and 9 agents. I'd say the agents is probably less than an hour.
I count about half an hour per agent.
Per agent.
That's with fine-tuning.
Right.
I only showed you one of the applications we built. If you're interested in more, you can go check us out at our booth. We have 2 additional ones as well.
And one of the applications was done through the video composer, which basically
yes, one of them's fully done through the video composer, then iterated on.
Right. The cost of the platform, we use actually what we call our professional capabilities, not our enterprise app, because most of this is available. So our cost is $250 a month for the professional plan. That is 1 interface, though, right? In this case, there's probably 3 interfaces that we need to use. Yeah, I mean, that's the extent of it, right? I know we were given a number of weeks to do this, but really this is just a matter of a few hours of work spread over a few days. I think probably the majority of the time was spent analyzing the data.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the important part. I mean, most of the time should be spent analyzing the data and understanding that process.
Yeah.
That's where agents come in to actually improve that as well. They speed up that optimization process, right, helping you understand it.
Yeah, and I think that's, and I played around with the agent as well. One of the things that I wanted I created that IS-88 agent, again, just to get an expert to look at the UNS structure from an N88 perspective. It was quite interesting to see what it came back with, models, et cetera, fit, not fit, pros and cons, et cetera. So all in all, again, a minimal effort for a huge value is the way we see it. And that's, I think, this slide. I don't think there's, oh, you need to move it. This doesn't work anymore. Okay, yeah, so we'll just end up here. I know it's going to open with questions. visit us at our booth. We're going to have a workshop that we call the AI Process Engineer. In fact, this is part of a bigger initiative that we are working on together with some educational institutions. Our goal is to educate, I think it's 5,000 AI process engineers in the next year, meaning that what we're trying to do is kind of give the industry or bring people to the industry who are educated in being AI engineers, people who know how to natively use AI in the context of manufacturing, because we do not see that coming out of our traditional educational institutions right now. It's a bigger thing. We can explain more about it if you're interested, but please join our workshops. This is kind of an initial part of the quest to educate 5,000 engineers this year. And with that, thank you very, very much for listening. I hope it was valuable. I hope you learned something. And I think it's time for questions.
Yep.
Good job, guys. Awesome work. Awesome work. So I believe the questions are going to come up on here, but there's a QR code to scan. So type in your questions. They'll start to come in. But to start off with, I'll kind of just set the stage while everybody gets their questions in. So as you look at a manufacturing company and they start to roll out these agents in AI, how do you maintain trust and validate that these agents and this AI is actually giving you relevant information to what's actually happening in the factory?
Yeah, it's a great question, a question we get all the time, and of course, a lot from the regulated industry. I have a very simple answer to that. You have to think of an agent as somebody, a person, that you would task with something, right? In fact, what I tell our customers is, what you can do is you can go to your favorite university, local university, and tell them, I want your top 10 students. And you bring them to your factory, and first of all, you'll sit them for a month and let them just learn everything that you know. And then you're going to task them with things like, find my bottlenecks, where should I optimize? If these were people, or any of their responses, any information that they would give you, you would look at critically. You will apply your knowledge and expertise to see if what they gave you is good or not. Agents are no different. So you task them, or they're much quicker. You don't need to sit them for a month. It takes them seconds to learn everything. They have access to information that you don't even know where is. And you can ask a question, and it comes back with an answer. That answer is, it's what we call human in the loop. You have to critically look at that answer. And that's part of it. So you really don't need to spend that much time validating agents. You just need to be critical on the output it gives you and understand it. And of course, this is very important. If I did not know anything about my plant or did not know anything about industrial engineering, I'd probably trust everything it said because there's nothing I could do critically about it, right? So you need experts. You need expertise and knowledge to understand what the agents give you. You also need expertise and knowledge to train the agents and mentor them.
Mm-hmm. So a great question coming from the audience. Are you LLM agnostic?
Yes and no. For right now, we try not to be, but again, this has to do with a bit more commercial. It's like some are more expensive than others in the agreements that we have. You saw that in this version, you can actually choose your models in the version that Brennan showed you. And you want to add something to that?
Yeah. So we do use Bedrock mainly, but you can choose models within that. So it is fully secure for your enterprise. We are agnostic, though, for the model choice itself.
Okay. Have you noticed any one that seems to take manufacturing data a little bit better than some of the other ones, for instance?
I think most of the Claude models tend to be best at understanding data and actually reasoning upon it. That's just what I found from my use of them.
Okay. Another one from the audience. You mentioned that you used both Aviva and Litmus in the presentation. What capabilities from each one did you pull out?
So we are platform agnostic. So we use both just to show that we have an open ecosystem. Both of them historized the data and enriched it with additional KPIs that we could then feed into that agent over an HTTP connector.
Let's go to another one here. So if you had to summarize kind of what you walked through there, it seemed to be a lot centered around speed to value, right? So if you had to pick 2 to 3 sentences to summarize the problem that you guys were solving, what would you say?
So we realized that the mixing vats had low availability and were not optimized. They would continuously be blocked by the tanks being full. So to solve that, we implemented an agent that would automatically review that and track that process, improving it over time. So it'll even get better as the process improves. It'll have that previous historical data of the optimizations, if they worked or not.
I saw one that popped up. It's not popping up now, but I thought it was a good one. We didn't see exactly how you pulled the data out of the virtual factory. Can you tell us a little bit how you connected into the broker and pulled that information in? Is that where kind of Litmus and Aviva plugged in, or yeah?
So we don't have any MQTT read functionality unless we are reading machines directly. Not currently. But Litmus and Aviva are great with that. We don't have historian functionality, so that's largely why we use them. They can provide that historized data for us. So using that, that's why we integrated them.
Cool. And then let's say another good one, a lot of what you showed, obviously leveraging agents and AI. Is the Tulip platform all cloud, some cloud, on-prem, mix?
And so it is a cloud, it's a modern cloud edge technology. Everything is in the cloud. The interface to the physical world is to our edge. And our edge is where the apps run, plus the different technologies that you use for connectivity, everything from the automation layer. We also sell some hardware that allows you to very quickly connect to your peripherals or any other hardware you have on the floor. So it's a modern cloud edge type technology. And there's some redundancies, and we won't get into it, but how we stream data up and down and to give you reliability with some latency issues, et cetera. By the way, all of this is available on our website. This is public knowledge. You can point your agent at our properties, support university community, and you're going to get some very good answers.
Awesome. I really like this one because it's one of the ones that I, as a developer, tend to try to focus on quite a bit. Do your agents and the AI within the ecosystem of that give you the reasoning that they use to get to that solution? So basically, kind of giving you the steps it took to understand the problem and get after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So those numbers that I put in the slide were actually pulled directly from the AI agent itself. So it will actually calculate these values. It'll even generate analytics to better showcase what it thought and where it got that information from.
If you can just bring, I don't know if you can bring up.
Yeah, I think we can.
Bring up the slide that shows that, your first slide that actually shows the agent reasoning through the question.
Perfect.
Yeah, it shows it's very verbose to the point where sometimes you want to switch it off. But what it does is actually
debug mode, right?
Yeah, it walks you step by step through all the calls that it's doing. And in fact, there's a little arrow there. And if you click on it, it will open up and actually shows you what the interaction it does with. And all that is documented in full audit trail, meaning that you can go back to it and see what it did.
In the age of citizen developers, and I think Jeff and Walker kind of both touched on it in their sessions this morning, what skill set do you typically look at for the people that are going to be building these applications within the Tulip operations platform?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and we get that a lot. So I typically say the best solutions in Tulip are actually created by people who know the process best. In fact, if we take and we do these workshops and hackathons, and we get customers that come to us and they come with a process engineer and somebody from IT or somebody who's on the software side. And by far, the process engineer is quicker and better at creating solutions in Tulip. And it's not surprising. That's what democratization is about, right? Democratization is giving people who know the process, people who have the problem, the ability to solve it. And if you know your problem well, you can very critically look at solutions. A person who doesn't, so the guy who knows all the software background, doesn't know anything about the process, and therefore he doesn't even have a starting position. He has to go and understand first, and I think that's very, very clear, and this is at the core of democratization.
Yeah, I think another really good one. Typically when you have this environment that anybody can build an application, we tend to see a lot of confusion between different people in different plants building application. I know you touched a little bit on the app marketplace, but is there anything from an AI or agent perspective that might help an enterprise manufacturer, for example, kind of figure out who's building applications? I think you showed a little bit, but just touch on that a little bit. Seems like a good point in the
question. And it's a very important point. I mean, you showed Ops Moto, which is kind of we have AI embedded in all the platform. We're just emphasizing the agentic AI because it's so powerful. But so first of all, you have access to all this data, usability data, and the heat map. Not shown. The heat map that was shown in the slide basically is that first, like, look, there's certain apps or certain solutions that are use more, provide more value, et cetera. But then in terms of the platform itself, you can internally create, you have agents, and the agents, you can ask them which apps are better than others and why.
We do even have an agent library as well that people can download these agents just to get started even quicker. And one of those agents is actually an app review agent. So they can review it against your enterprise guidelines that you inputted into that agent. So they can make sure all of the apps follow the same guidelines.
Yeah. So I can see it relates to that validation question, but just before we get there, there is, not only does Tulip have a full open API, you can access all the information, not only information, but structural information as well. In Tulip, Tulip also offers a public MCP access to the platform. So you can point your agents outside of the platform into Tulip, and in the same way that our agents have access to those tools, you have access to those tools from your external agents. And with that, really, that answer, you can basically interrogate anything and interact in many different ways.
You touched a little bit on the cost there. Is there any connection cost, or what's the limitation on the number of agents, the number of AI points, LLMs? Is there a cost scale with that as well, or is it one of the connection points?
There is. We have different tiers to our subscription model, and each subscription model comes with a certain number of, if you will, tokens or access to certain things. But I don't think that's going to be, as a customer, we can figure that out and give you what you need.
Great. Let's see.
There was a question about validation.
Yeah. I saw that. How do you validate the AIs? Yep.
Validation. So this is a very interesting topic when you get to validation. I'll speak to it. Actually, if you're interested, Michelle and I just recorded a podcast specifically about this topic, about validation, et cetera. But again, in what I explained before, how do you do validation? You hire a whole bunch of people to write documents for you. And then you hire a whole other bunch of people to execute the protocols, et cetera. That is something agents can do so well. And again, with human in the loop, right? So we have many validation agents, but one of the validation agents, the one that we showed, basically we trained that agent and gave him specific instructions to follow the new principle, and it's called Validation 4.0, which is a risk-based model. There's an ISP guidance around that, and that agent basically takes a set of applications, does a risk assessment on it, and creates a validation plan for you for that solution.
Excellent. I've seen this one come up a few times now. So basically, this one specifically says in regulated environments, but just in general, comparatively to the MES and all the different things that even Jeff had in the stack of software today inside the factory, where do you think Tulip fits best in that stack?
In terms of MES, look, MES. Again, this is a topic that I've written and talked about for many years.
I think I've read a few of those.
Look, MES is really a relic of traditional or Industry 3.0. When we talk about MES in the context of this new world, you want Industry 4.0, 5.0, or whatever you want to call it, really we are talking about the problem we're trying to solve versus what the system gives you. So does Tulip replace or augment MES? Yes. In a new digital world, MES, as we know it, does not exist. What does exist are digital solutions that work with Agentic AI to solve the problems you have on the shop floor. And what are the problems you have on the shop floor? You have different use cases that you need to solve for. There's an EDHR or EBR use case, there's a maintenance use case, there's an optimization use case, et cetera. So you build solutions to solve those problems. And when you look at all these solutions together, you can call them an MES, but you don't have to. You actually call them whatever you want. So rather than speak about, do we have an MES or not, really let's talk about the solutions that you need, and you need to solve them. A lot of our customers come to us and say, we need an MES. And I say, nobody needs an MES. You have problems you need to solve. Can we talk about those? Right? It's a given that you say, I need an MES because you think that's going to solve your problems. So, again, just to answer this question, it does both augment or replace, depends on what you want. So in companies that have invested millions of dollars in MESs, we're not going to go in and say rip and replace. Let's go to places where MES doesn't cover. What are the problems MES doesn't deal with? And in any given pharma plant, because this is pharma, yes, you have an MES and you invest a lot of money and you're all digital, et cetera, and I go, fine, let's go out to your plant. And I just start picking out the papers. And go, oh, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? A typical pharma company with, let's say, 20 sites has roughly 10,000 different paper forms that are used. Let's just start there.
Yeah. And then the last one, we only have about a minute left, so I always want to finish with this one. If there was one thing you wanted the audience to take away from your presentation today, what do you want them to know about Tulip as they walk out and go look at everything else that's going on today at ProveIt?
I'll give you the first shot.
I think it's that a lot of people think of AI as something that's very difficult to do. You need a programming background. You need a lot of knowledge before actually executing it. What Tulip's doing right now is totally democratizing that. Anyone can go and build any of these AI tools, and it'll run automatically in the background without any skill or background knowledge at all. I have no software engineering background myself. I'm a mechanical engineer, but I built these agents in 30 minutes. It can take even less if you wanted to.
Awesome. Well, with that, with about 20 seconds left, we'll give a round of applause to the Tulip team.
Thank you.